Good afternoon, everyone. How's it going? You know what day it is. You know what time it is. Wilson, Wednesday. We might not have too many more of these. Don't know. We'll see what happens next year. We'll see what happens this off season, but could be getting to the end here. So let's let's see what we can see. And while, as you all know, it was the Detroit Lions and not even a real good Detroit Lions version, it was pretty good. We saw some good things from Wilson in terms of his metrics this week, and obviously he played well. The numbers, the box score number speaks to that. But as for how he played, that was pretty solid. And if we could, if I believed that what I saw on Sunday against the Lions was something that I would see consistently going forward, that would make me a little more excited about the prospect of running it back. So, hey, we got one more game to play. For me, I didn't see a lot of the things I wanted to see this year with the way Wilson played. Not so much with the level of his play. The level of his play overall was still fairly good, but there were just some things that I think he needed to do stylistically that it didn't happen. However, in this game, he took some steps towards that. And will that end up meaning anything? Only this offseason knows. So his air yards per pass attempt went down to 9.7. It's still going to be higher than I think it's ever been. And the highest it's been since Bevel was fired at the very least for sure. But it did go down from 9.9, so positive steps. Air yards per pass completion went down a little bit to 6.4, down from 6.5. Yards after the catch per pass completion stayed the same at 5.3. So that's a little more in tune with what I was hoping for. I don't know what his exact air yards per pass attempt was in that one specific game, but it was probably, I would guess, down somewhere around 7.2, 7.3. That's a little more in tune with what I was hoping for this year. Now, there are obviously a lot of extenuating circumstances, but I have to work with the evidence that I get. And I saw a lot of evidence this year that despite having this new offense and despite having the opportunities to show that he could take to this new offense really well, we only saw it here and there. Colts, I'd say the Vikings, Niners, this game, and then sometimes it seems like he just goes back to some of the stuff I don't want to see. But this game, pretty good. Okay, as for his accuracy, pretty good. I think he had like four bad throws against the Lions. So his bad throw percentage is 17.7. On target throws, 277. They gave him like 20 on target throws in this game. On target throw percentage was 76.7. So his accuracy is basically where it usually is. He's usually fairly accurate. These numbers are pretty close to in line with what you would expect from him based off recent results. Maybe they're a tiny bit worse, but I think a lot of that can be put on the bad finger that hindered him in those three games. So the accuracy is still there for sure. And as for his pressures, as for how often he gets pressured, as for how long he's spending in the pocket, his pocket time actually went down a little bit to 2.3. So again, we see a positive step in the right direction. He was sacked once in this game. He got hurried, what was it, four times, and I think he got hit twice. Yes, twice. So he was pressured a grand total of seven times in this game. Now, he didn't have a ton of passing attempts, that helps, but that's still a pretty good rate. And overall this year, he's been pressured 114 times. Even if you were to extrapolate out for the 3.5 games that he missed, his pressure rate on this season would overall be a little bit lower than where it's been previously. His pressured percentage this year is 26.6% of passing snaps, which is, I mean, we've been on a downward trend these last 3 years, and this year is the lowest it's been since Bevel was fired. So that is a positive sign. And I want to highlight something when it comes to things like pressure rate and pocket time, et cetera, et cetera. So let's take a look at the three quarterbacks a lot of people consider to be the three best QBs in the league right now. So Aaron Rodgers, if you go to his pressure rate this year, pressure numbers. Um, his pressure rate is a little bit lower than Wilson's. It's about 22%. Pocket time is 2.2, 1/10 of a second lower. So his pressure rate's a little lower. His time spent in the pocket is a little bit lower. Tom Brady, 10.5% pressure rate. That's pretty insane. And it does speak to how good Tampa Bay's offensive line is, but it also speaks to how fast he's getting the ball out, 2.1 seconds. He's getting the ball out faster than he ever has in his career, as far as I know. And that's saying something. He's always been somebody who does okay with getting the ball out of his hands quickly. So you can see him. He's getting the ball out a little quicker. Pressure percentage goes down. Pat Mahomes, not having his best year, but you can see he's getting the ball out of his hands about as fast as Wilson, 2.3. And his pressure rate is a little bit below where Wilson is, 22.3. Kansas City does have a better offensive line, but you can also play this same game with their air yards. All three of these quarterbacks have lower air yards than Wilson. So my point is, if we decide to run this back next year with the same coaches, same philosophy, same players, Wilson comes back, Pete comes back, Waldron comes back, da-da-da-da-da-da, Solari, some of these players. If we decide to just write this season off and say, yeah, let's just re-roll the dice in 2022, maybe this stuff can be built on to the point where Wilson's pressured rate goes down to like it was for Mahomes and Rodgers, where it's around 22, 23%. Because you are seeing some positive growth here, right? Like in 2018, it was 32%. Now it's 26.5%. That is positive growth. So hopefully this is a sign of things to come. But I just wanted to highlight the fact that there's a decent correlation between pressure rate and pocket time. So the quarterbacks who are getting the ball out of their hands faster, the quarterbacks who are willing to go for more checkdowns, they get pressured less. So hopefully Wilson can learn those lessons. All three of those quarterbacks have air yards per pass attempt at like 8, a little below 8, by the way. So that's also a strong consideration. Finally, Wilson, I think, scrambled twice against the Lions, so he's up to 22 on the year. Lower than he's been recently. The injuries account for some of that, but he's just not scrambling as much as he used to. By the way, scrambles are specifically plays that were meant to be passing plays, but the quarterback ran with it. So it's not like planned QB runs or anything like that. And as for play action attempts, this was kind of interesting. Wilson had 12 play actions against the Lions. I like that. I really like that. More play action, please, now and forever. So if we can keep that number up around there next year, if we do decide to bring all this stuff back, that's going to be an indication to me that we are at least doing things right in the upstairs department. Maybe things will go wrong in the actual physical part of playing football, but the philosophy will be sound. So I don't know why we got away from play action so much in the previous two games, but we got back to it against the Lions and it worked great. 12, nearly, half of Wilson's pass attempts were play action? That's good. So we'll see you guys later on. Probably going to stream Sekiro later, maybe some Dead by Daylight, I'm not sure. See you guys there. Peace out. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think, guys. We're winding down to the end of the season.